Okay, so the history has seen a lot of, hula baloo with this term called purebred.
Halla balu.
Halla baloo.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, okay, so the history has seen a lot of halla baloo with this term called purebreds. I mean, from Nazi Germany to,
yeah,
even Catholicism and then even Harry Potter, right? Pure bloods and stuff.
yeah.
Now, this is a concept that's not just in the minds of human beings. This is something that's very much there in biology too. It's called purebreds, which are organisms with identical lineage,
Mm.
right? Now, as we've seen with human beings, these purebred organisms often suffer from genetic defects and weaknesses,
Yes.
right? But what happens when you mix two completely different breeds?
Mm.
The offsprings display a concept called heterosis or hybrid vigor.
Oh,
They are stronger, larger, and more resilient than both the parents, which is one of the reasons that, in India, mostly it's said that you can't marry within your own gotra, right? Because it's the same genetic makeup coming together. So they prefer it if the gotras are different, which brings in two different genetics, two different
strains.
DNAs. Exactly. Two different strains that bring together something which produces a stronger offspring and then better generations, right?
Yeah.
Right. So the reason that we're talking about purebreds and all, we have this question from from a senior leader in a tech company in
Yeah.
United States. So he says that I'm 40. I just got promoted to a VP role,
Yeah.
and everyone in the boardroom of the company has an Ivy League MBA and
Mm.
speaks in the strategy buzzwords,
Ah.
right? And this person, he's a college dropout who has learned throughout on the job. Now his problem is that he gets the imposter syndrome. He says he feels very awkward speaking up in front of all of these ultra educated people. He feels like a fraud, like he doesn't belong in the room. So he's asking if he should also go for an executive MBA just to fit in, or should he bring in the outsider's edge, as we call it?
Oh, okay. All right. First of all, if you're a dropout, you better start your own company, man. I mean, that's how famous dropouts actually become big.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure whether this guy is a winner or a loser. Sorry, person who is listening to me. That was just a joke. What I wanted to say was that if I look at what people typically do is that they're struck by the imposter syndrome in a situation
Yeah.
like this because they suddenly get overwhelmed. I remember
Mm.
being overwhelmed as an MBA student because I was never attending a single lecture before I came to MICA, right? And I suddenly realized, oh my God, these are such intelligent people around me, and I've spent
Yeah.
all of my life on a cricket field. And
Yeah.
it is kind of overwhelming. So I do understand what our man is feeling.
Mm.
Now, my feeling is that you can't really beat imposter syndrome. And the worst thing he can do is to start an executive MBA.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you why. He is somebody who has got a seat at the table, right? He's got a seat
Yeah.
at the table with his current story. So
Yeah.
he's literally got himself out there. So why should he change? I mean, he's being appreciated for what difference he brings to the table, and he should, do the second option certainly that he's talking about. I also think that at a broader level, if I look at something like you always feel when you're besieged by the imposter syndrome that you should be adding more ingredients because you're not enough.
Yeah.
But what you should be doing is you should be changing the recipe. You have the same ingredients. Why not cook up a different recipe? So instead of because doing an executive MBA and then getting a lot of that stuff inside you and then trying to use it is going to take you a couple of years. By the time you'll get fired. So why don't you stop being an imposter? So
Yeah, yeah, sixer जाएगा या out of wicket.
yeah, and what's the point, right? What's the point? Life is short. Lean into your strengths. Make sure that they play onto it. Say that, hey, I don't know what this is. Explain the strategy to me? And then you simplify
Yeah.
it and say, oh, this is what you're actually saying, and actually make it more real. So that's your contribution to those meetings and those conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we keep on harping on. I think we mentioned this in one of our episodes where we're talking about, the brief that clients give, right?
Hmm.
And how 90% of it is just MBA jargon,
Yes.
right? And the only purpose it solves is that it just makes you sound smart.
Hmm. Hmm.
right? But honestly, to what end, right?
Hmm.
You'll probably sound smart for one meeting or maybe 10 meetings, right? But the moment the quarter results come in, your CEO doesn't give a damn if you know the word segmentation or targeting and stuff. He'll want to know how much you were able to grow the numbers. Now, this person, the advice is, you're very right? You grew to this level on the basis of whatever you learned,
Yeah.
right? You didn't grow because you went to college or you didn't go to college
No.
or whatever your history. It didn't matter. You learned on the job, which I think is the best way to actually learn anything at all. I'll tell you a very simple and maybe lowballed kind of a comparison, right? So after my engineering, I was told by everybody you should directly go for the MBA. Right, because you're already in that inertia of
Yeah.
studying and all of that stuff. You'll get a better job with MBA, etc. So my belief was that I want to first, work in the environment that I'm ultimately going to manage,
Yeah.
right? And I'm telling you, when I came to Mica, I could see a very stark difference. The way people with work experience go towards a problem, try to solve a problem, as opposed to a fresher,
Yeah.
right? A fresher, they might be from IIM Ahmedabad, they might be
Yeah.
from an ISB, or they might be from a Harvard or a Caltech or whatever, right?
Yeah.
What they are bringing to the table is something that they have read in the case studies of the last 10 to 20 years,
Yeah.
right? But somebody who's learned on the job,
It's just
somebody
a
who's
different
spent,
edge. It's just a
it
different
is a
edge.
very different edge, because look at the kind of world we're living in, right? It
Yeah.
is shifting every second,
Yeah.
especially with the AI bubble. Anything that you have read 5 years back or even 6 months back will be irrelevant today.
Yeah.
Right, so you have learned on the job, you have actually seen, you have traversed that trajectory the world is moving towards. Why would you want to waste 1 year learning something that's never going to help you? And you're already on the VP position, right? You're already CXO -1. You're anyways going to climb up the ladder to CXO level, right?
Yeah.
So why do you want to take a step back, learn something that's not going to help you, just to be able to feel like you belong in that room?
Yeah, and what you should remember is purebreds, as you said, they get shot if they, get injured. But if you're no 100%.
मारी दो मतलब
Yeah, absolutely. But if you look at a mule, which is a cross between a donkey and a horse, I mean, a
Hmm.
mule is the hardest working animal, and
Yeah,
it has a very long and peaceful and calm life, right? So maybe you should not be afraid to lean into hardworking, calm, behind the scenes sort of an approach for a little while. I think the
yeah,
key is that you're trying to blend in with your peers, because
yeah,
peer judgment and peer disapproval also works at that level, and I can understand the fear, right? The fear of the peer or whatever. So what I think is really critical is that you probably need to understand how to blend in as well, right? You have to blend in. You don't have to make an ass of yourself. I think that is the key. You have to
yeah.
blend in without really
I think
feeling
he's,
inferior.
yeah, if
Yeah.
he's already come to the VP level, or even
Yeah.
the other viewers who've already reached some level in their careers, right? They've already cracked how to blend in with people. I think one of the biggest problem is they are the square pegs in the round holes. They are not
Mm.
able to find their niche. Right now, here there is this concept called cheerleader effect, right?
Yeah.
Where all the cheerleaders look good only because they're a part of the cheerleader group. Now look
Mm.
at them separately. I mean, somebody's too tall, somebody's too thin, somebody has freckles and all of that stuff. But only one of those cheerleaders is going to go to become the CEO, right? The
Mm.
entire group is not going to become a CEO. So think about it. You have to blend in the group, but you don't have to hide in the group, because the CEO brought you here because of what you know. And you never
Yeah.
know the reason that you're not a part of that group, the reason that you're different from everybody might be the reason that you become the CEO tomorrow.
Yeah. The only thing that you should worry about, and I'd love to add on to this, is that
Yeah.
maybe sometimes you're brought in because you will bring about a change by the CEO. But
Yeah.
people around you like the routine, right?
Yeah.
So they will try to pull you down. So understand what is happening and why it might be happening. They're trying to intimidate you. They're trying to intimidate you with their massive jargony words. So what you have to do is,
Yeah.
it is going to be a tricky thing, but don't think that you are lacking anything. That's
Yeah.
what I would say.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, whenever we come, or to be honest, whenever we come across somebody who's talking too much in jargon, my go-to is, "Arey, what do you want to say, dude? Like,
Yeah,
stop moving around in circles and actually say what you want to say." And the moment you say what you want to say, the person is blank,
yeah,
right? Because they brought in the only edge they brought in was those jargons.
yeah.
You never know, the egg actually might be rotten inside. So just try to open the shell once and see if the egg actually holds the yolk or not.
Janavi, you're putting me off my meals again for the next episode as well, right? So I think we should move on from here to the next thing. Okay.
Have you heard about the Stockdale paradox?
No, educate me.
Okay, so Admiral James Stockdale, he was a prisoner of war in Vietnam for around 7 years. So he is famously quoted to have said, "The optimists were the
Hmm.
ones who died first in the prison
Yeah.
because they kept believing that we'll be out by Christmas. And when Christmas came and went, they died of a broken heart. Now the
Hmm.
survivors were the ones who confronted the fact of the reality, but
Uh,
never lost faith that they would prevail in the end."
like a Viktor Frankl, no?
Viktor Frankl.
Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. There is a very interesting dude who wrote this
Okay.
book. He was a Jew who was put in a Nazi Holocaust sort of thing. He actually wrote his most famous work when he was in prison because he said that nobody can actually hold me captive if my mind is free. And
Oh,
yeah, it's an incredible book. And he lost his entire family. It's quite tragic, but it's a
okay.
very inspiring book. So I agree with you. Yes, go on, Miss
Yeah.
Trivia.
Okay, so this brings us to the second question, which is in
Okay.
blue. Okay. So this question is from a founder of an AI startup based out in Canada. He says, "We have 3 months of runway left. If I tell
Hmm.
my team, they might panic and start leaving.
Yeah.
But we're trying a lot of things, and I really need my team to stick with me right now. But if I don't warn them, they might be out of a job in 3 months. I feel like a horrible liar." Now he says, "My co-founder says fake it till you make it to keep the morale high, but I don't feel right doing it." So he's asking, how should he deal with the dilemma while leading a sinking ship?
Oh wow, this is such a many layered question, right? So here's my immediate thoughts on it. The
Yeah.
first is I think that if you are feeling that your ship is sinking, then you're already not deluding yourself, and a founder needs to be fairly deluded, right? If you the founder is seeing the writing on the wall and he's seeing that okay, this is sinking and all of that, that by itself is a death knell. You should close your shop right now. Why wait for 3 months, right?
So he's saying they're trying a lot of things. No, I mean,
No,
why are you crushing somebody's dream?
I'm just he has cursed his own dream because he's out of the delusion. He has stopped believing in himself and his company. If he says that, oh my God, it's going to stop in 3 months, he means that he's not deluded enough to actually believe in himself. Right? So which means that how the hell are people not going to read it in his body language? People will
Hmm.
read it in his body language. People see the writing on the wall. And if he lies, it becomes worse. And his
Yeah.
co-founder, by the way, is an ass because actually this fake it till you make it
Agreed.
makes you look more like a liar, right?
Yeah.
But it actually makes you look more like a liar. I think that if the ship has sailed, shut down the company immediately, save yourself, your investors, and your employees, give them good referrals, give them good whatever. Please understand, read it for yourself. There is no one last chance. If you already see that it's closing, close it down. Now, on the other hand, I think that also if you've reached a situation, the second layer, by the way, if you have also reached a situation like this, it means that you have always not been absolutely transparent with the people who are core to your team. And I
Yeah.
think that the rapport that you have with your team sucks. Right. So the reason why it sucks is because you should be actually talking to the team, whichever is working with you, that look, this is the clarity that I bring to the table. This is how we're
Hmm.
doing. So there are no nasty surprises like this.
Yeah. This is
So
a conversation that probably should have happened six to
yeah,
nine months back.
yeah, this is a conversation that should have happened 6 to 9 months back. And
Yeah.
so therefore, again, I would say shut down your goddamn company. Make sure that you take this lesson when you start your next one.
Yeah, or maybe so he or she or whoever it is,
Yeah.
they've mentioned that they are trying a couple of things, and probably the reason that he needs his team to stick with him is because he needs their whatever expertise or the man or the workforce or whatever to successfully do whatever they're trying to do. So if you do have a hope, right? So there are a lot of people, including perhaps me, who take the pessimistic kind of an approach, or rather don't want to be the optimist, be a realist, right? So they always have like, okay, I have this much runway left. I still have hope for 1 to 2 months. If nothing works out, then I'm done, right? But there might be something in the pipeline, something in the gears or something like that happening, right? But even in that case, then you have to give yourself some very strict deadline that, okay, I have 3 months. I know that any person who wants to look for a job successfully needs like 2 months,
Yeah.
perhaps 1 to 2 months to look
Yeah.
for a job,
Yeah.
right? So I will give myself 1 month, and if it doesn't work, then I will shut down the company, give everybody the money back, so that my employees can make their extend their runway by another 2 months, and they will again have some 1 to 2 months to start looking for a job. But in the meantime, you should absolutely be brutally honest with your employees that we have reached the stage, we might not be in existence 3 months from now, so start looking for something. But again, be very transparent that you are trying at a couple of different things and you definitely need them. And probably if you have 100 employees, maybe 70 won't stick with you, but the 30 that will stick with you probably share your vision and probably will work twice, thrice as hard to get back on their feet.
If the guy's employees are listening to this thing right now, run right now. Just
You never know, right? There have been so
see,
many success
Jairam, who's
stories
being
out
the
of the mud.
pessimist and who's being the optimist? I don't understand this. I don't understand this. Okay, so the thing is, I feel that you're being an optimist and you're being a closet optimist over here. But I am also being an optimist in a very different way. I think that there are lessons that you learn from failures, and then sometimes the best way to learn from those failures is to start completely afresh, right? And all this is not only true for the founder but also true for the employees. And I think that right now the founder and the co-founder are being a little bit selfish because they want to try and get something going, and they're trying to scratch and maneuver and hustle their way through something which they have hope for, and so they're trying to keep some people dangling, and that is never a good situation. I've seen a couple of these situations, they never work out well.
That is true. I mean, okay, so probably if you're a solopreneur or something, then the only life that's on the line is yours. So in that
Hmm.
case,
Yeah.
you can be a bit optimistic, you can be a bit delusional and
Yeah.
whatever. But when you're running a big company, or whenever you're responsible for more than one person, right, you
Yeah.
can't afford to be selfish. There are other lives on the line.
I
So
couldn't agree more.
yeah, but I mean, in any case, whether or not you, I mean, depends on the kind of hope that you have for whatever is in the pipeline right now.
Hmm.
If you think that there is a 50-50 chance that it will or will
See,
not work out,
if you were that positive, you this thought only won't come in your head. If you
no,
were
that's not true. No, that's not true. I mean, you
no,
have the balance sheet in front of you, right? Think about it. Think about it. I mean, look at me. I left my job, right? I had no income coming in, right? So it was
so
always
that
every
stares
day
you, that
was
stares you, that stares you in front
exactly.
of
So
your face.
every night the ritual was, look at the bank app to see how much balance there is, how much credit card debt there is, and etc. So that I would be so panicked when I sleep that at the moment I wake up, I start working and etc. Right. So there is something, the money is a big tension for everybody,
Of
especially somebody
course,
who's running out of it.
of course, of
Right.
course.
So could just be that the person is not running out of delusion, or the person is not hasn't stopped believing in the idea. It's just that maybe things are not working out as they had planned, right? Could be a lot of things, right? Market conditions keep on changing. There is so much volatility. Maybe the investments dried up. Right? Lots of things, right? So
Hmm.
I think So realistically, have a look at whatever. I know you're smirking because I said optimistically, but
Yeah.
but realistically, like, look at whatever is in the pipeline, look at whatever is gearing up. If it has 50 chance, or even a 70-30 chance of not working out, then close,
Hmm.
right? And start afresh. Maybe use those things only to start afresh, but let everyone else go. right?
Yeah.
Take a shot just on yourself, just on you as a liability. But if you think there is a very good chance that it will work out, but you definitely need your people to work with you to make that happen. Give yourself a very, very realistic timeline that has absolutely no margin of error. That in 1 month, if it
Yeah.
doesn't work out, I'm going to shut it down,
Yeah.
right? And today, tomorrow, Monday morning, go and be very honest with your employees. And whoever wants to leave will leave. But whoever sticks with you, I mean, there is a reason that they'll stick with you. Probably you are the reason that they'll stick with you. And if nobody
Absolutely.
sticks with you, then probably you were delusioned in the first place.
My God, Janavi, there are many layers to you. I think we've outdone ourselves in
Yeah.
answering this question.
So we both love liquor, right? And we've both spoken about a lot of scotches and whiskeys and wines and stuff. So just wondering if you've heard about, you must have as a marketer, right? You must have heard about the Shivas Regal effect.
You're clearly not liking me at this moment because I'm in Ahmedabad and I'm living in dry land. Okay. And you're talking of Shivas and whatever. But no, I haven't heard of this. Tell me.
Okay. So this happened in the 1940s, where Chivas Regal Scotch was struggling. This was during the World War II. The economy was
Hmm.
down, right?
Hmm.
So obviously the business was struggling because it was a luxury item.
Yeah.
So now it was a good product, but the sales were flat, right? So what Chivas did was they neither changed the recipe, they didn't change the bottle, they didn't change the marketing campaigns. All they did was they doubled the price, right? And the sales skyrocketed. And
Hmm.
that was probably this increase in sales that ultimately led to the acquisition of Shivas Regal by Seagram in 1949,
Hmm.
right? So this brings us to the next question.
Are
This
you
is,
thinking of upping our consulting prices? Sorry, I couldn't.
let's take this offline, Siddharth.
Okay. Okay. All right. Go on.
Okay, so this is a question from a CEO of
Yeah.
a boutique consultancy based out in India. She says that we deliver better results. This is not me, by the way.
I just want to listen to this. There's some subliminal messaging going on. Okay. Okay, go on.
Okay. So she says that we deliver better results than the big four consultancy firms, but
Hmm.
they charge 10 times what we do
Hmm.
because of the brand name. So she
Hmm.
says that I want to raise my prices to match theirs, but I'm
Hmm.
terrified of losing clients because of the high pricing, especially in a market like India. So
Hmm.
how do I price my value when I don't have the brand name to go with it?
No, no, go with your intuition, is what I would say. Do not price yourself high because your gut is telling you the right things. You will be booted out of the marketplace. Please understand. So the reason why you'll be booted out of the marketplace is because you're not invested in building your brand. Where does this come from? So, right. So the value is not coming from what you're delivering. The value is coming
Mm,
from the promise of delivery, and the value is
yeah,
coming from a different target segment who will, give you that more that level of money. If you have not invested in your personal brand, if you've not created that value upfront and for a long
yeah,
period of time, what is going to happen? What you're going to do is that, oh, this guy is charging, but what else has this person done, right? To build that brand, to build that network, to make sure that he's, or she is doing a lot of different things. You cannot just change one factor and expect
yeah.
everything else to change. So please, advice to this, quick advice to this person is, you're right. Okay, you will be booted out of the marketplace if you up your prices. Shut up. You're doing something well. Go below the radar and get your clients.
Okay. You know that there was a time when we used to say that we can't disagree on anything. I think this is the time when we are disagree on everything. No,
Yes.
so I'll actually bring in the Shivas Regal effect here, right?
Mm,
They did change just one factor. All they did was change their price, but it was also followed when Seagram acquired Shivas Regal. It was also followed by some very, very pivotal marketing campaigns of those times.
so that's two factors.
So happened consequently, right?
Okay.
They increased their prices, the sales shot up, then
Mm,
Seagram acquired them, and then they started on the marketing campaigns, right? So probably those marketing campaigns had been built to build the brand of
Hmm.
Shivasi Legal, to to position it or continue positioning it as a premium segment. So what generally happens is, if you lowball your offer, right? So even if you're very good, the consumer automatically feels that you are a mass market item. But the moment you price yourself above the market, it is a psychological effect that takes place, that you must be better. There must be a reason that you are charging more, so the results must be better. Now look at, to be very very honest, in the last so many years that I have seen, any strategy given by a McKinsey or a KPMG, etc., has, I don't know, has had more detrimental effects than they've had positive effects, right? All open to hatred coming towards me from my fellow people in McKinsey and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, but and boutique agencies are actually doing better, because we've moved away from a generalist society to a specific
Hmm.
expert society, to a more tea expertise, subject matter plus generalist kind of a society, a polymathic society, right? And in this regard, small agencies, boutique agencies who specialize in something and can do a lot of things or bring in a lot of subject matter expertise, etc., etc., they are doing much better, right? As opposed to the bigger companies like BCG and all of that, who've become very much
Hmm.
outdated by
Okay, I
now.
see what you're saying. I
Right
just,
now,
yeah.
I think the reason that these big four companies have managed to retain their brand name is simply because of their legacy. I
Hmm.
don't think it has anything to do with the value, because they have a legacy. That is why they get invited by the bigger companies, and that is why they can position themselves as more premium. Now, a boutique agency, boutique consultancy firm has no other choice but to go to the smaller companies that cannot pay that much, and that is why they have to lowball their offers, right? So it is a very precarious balance that you have to go. So I would probably say that in such a case, you have to divide your offerings. Number one, you obviously have to brand yourself in a position premium way. So start changing your positioning, and have two segments where one thing is becoming your cash cow. So at least your clients, some of the clients remain, some value keeps coming in, some revenue keeps coming in, but there is also a bracket that you can start positioning to the bigger clients who can pay you better.
See, easier said than done, but I'll tell you one company which has done this really well. Okay, so for anybody who's a great beer drinker, don't spend too much money buying Kingfisher Ultra. Okay,
Yeah.
just see what happens, right? So open a bottle of Kingfisher Ultra. Okay, open a bottle of London Pilsner or whatever the hell the cheapest thing is. See the difference, and it's the same beer and a different brand. It is a very odd sort of situation. And my brother had introduced me to this concept. He said, "Go on, you've done Pepsi versus Coke, try this stuff." I couldn't make out. And I just realized that the branding, the sizzle is way making the steak much tastier, right? Now, so I just feel that sometimes the same product can be branded completely differently, but to two different segments who are not intersecting with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So over
Yeah.
here, the problem with the boutique agency is if they're catering to two different segments, they can afford to do what your strategy is.
Yeah.
If those segments are intersecting or overlapping in any way, then you are done for. The
No, no, that is true.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
bigger example is Nike, right? Which is a completely different strategy. They
Mm.
realized that Gen Xers are buying shoes once every 3 years, so they
Mm.
shifted to millennials. So they started talking for millennials, which made sure that Gen Xers and baby boomers started getting upset with them, right?
Mm.
For the stances that they were taking, Colin Kaepernick, etc., etc. So the
Yeah.
thing is that you probably need to make some sacrifice at some stage.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what you're trying to do, keep things safe, but maybe you can try a product instead of a competing service. Maybe you can, do something completely different in a different market or different
Yeah.
territory.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If you're a consultancy firm, you can actually, I mean, if you have to divide, there might be a market research that you do for a mass market
Yeah,
budget, and then you do AI tech stack for premium
yeah,
segment, right?
yeah,
Something like that. It might be complementary offerings, it might be something completely different, and you
yeah,
might brand something completely different. Now,
yeah,
it is like Sula has done. Their normal wines are like 600, 700 a pop, right?
yeah,
But the moment you go to the Brut Chandon kind of
yeah.
segment, right? It's generally a very affluent kind of a segment, and they've done the bottling that way.
Mm,
The bottling of Brut champagne is very much different from an average Sula bottle, and so the moment you look at the bottle, you can just the first thought that comes to your mind is it must be pricey, and it is pricey. So
yeah,
when both these worlds come together, you think, okay, it must be worth the price.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yes to all. I see. I agree with you. See, there you go. Just don't want to get more.
Is it just because we're talking about liquor?
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to hurt myself here in this dry country. Yes, I agree with you.
So in the 1840s, there was a bubble of the railway infrastructure. Right now, the way we see today with AI bubble happening, it was a similar kind of a bubble where a lot of people were, there was a massive frenzy to build railways.
Hmm.
Investors were pouring in what was then the equivalent of billions today.
Hmm.
Then what happened? The bubble burst, and thousands of these investors they went bankrupt.
Hmm.
Right? It was an absolute financial disaster in 1840s.
Hmm.
Right now, the investors they lost their shirts, but what remained were the railway tracks,
Hmm.
and it was these failed investments that laid the infrastructure that powered the entire industrial revolution a few years later.
The
Right?
vultures,
So
the vultures win eventually. I'm telling you. This is they just wait. You die, then I will come. Vultures. Okay. Yeah.
hi, Jensen Huang.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
Right.
know.
So a similar kind of disruption or bubble is happening today, where we recently
Hmm.
saw the U.S. software stocks take a complete wipeout of $1 trillion in the market within
Hmm.
1 week. Right. Investors they're growing wary of high capital expenditures which are required for the AI infrastructure. We even saw companies like Amazon crashing by around 11% of their value, following a $200 billion spending forecast, right? Despite the fact that they had a very good earnings call. So this is a big disruption that is taking place today. And like open thoughts, what do you think? Is it
Look,
smart?
I've
Not
been
smart?
tracking this movement a little closer,
Yeah,
and what I've understood is that the markets have bounced back a little, right? So
yeah,
there's been a bit of a rally. Now, I was wondering why this is happening. So there must be two competing stories. Is what I was thinking. So
yeah.
if I look at story number one, it is a very the typical story. People can't afford to keep pumping in money for AI as infrastructure. But the competing story, which is under the radar, is that AI is replacing software.
Hmm.
Okay, and AI replacing software is also leading to jobless growth and all of that, which is
Yeah.
a hidden factor. What people must understand is to understand that if there are two competing stories in the marketplace, this sort of volatile and then rallying back and forth is going to happen for a while. So
Yeah.
I'm no great stock investor or whatever, but I would certainly hold on to my money till it settles down in one direction or the other. What I feel is that which story will win is a very interesting thing to figure out. I don't have claim to have all the answers, but I feel that the longer term stories over are both of these stories are longer term. AI is replacing software, and
Yeah.
AI's
And humans.
infrastructure is expensive, right?
Yeah.
So it's not
True.
like, oh, this is a short term story versus a longer term story, so
Yeah.
invest in the longer term story. So these are,
The irony, yeah, the irony is that investors are actually rallying to invest in AI startups, but they are not willing to waste any spending on AI infrastructure.
yeah.
Right? I was looking at the news where Microsoft's share went down because the investors because they showed a large portion of their spending going towards OpenAI.
Yeah, no,
Right?
that is
And
that Microsoft is practicing circular economy. They're just pumping money back into themselves.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's happening with OpenAI, and
Yeah.
one of the major reasons that even the market downtrend is happening is because the entire circular economy, तो नहीं है. It is a bubble
No.
only.
Yeah.
Yeah, around OpenAI. So wherever in fact, the market sentiment is more open towards Perplexity and Anthropic
Hmm.
as opposed to OpenAI, because OpenAI is openly creating this bubble, right?
Did you see Anthropic's recent ad in the Super Bowl? That was
No.
fantastic. Oh, that was so fantastic. There goes somebody's using ChatGPT as a therapist. OpenAI, right? So it
Okay.
was Claude's ad, Anthropic's ad, right?
Yeah.
So somebody's using what is clearly ChatGPT, yeah,
Mm.
as a therapist, and say, okay, can you help me deal with my issues about my mother? And it gives very clinical answers. Okay, try doing this, go for a walk with your mother, this, that. And if not, then you can call this hotline and you'll get some really mature older women who can date you, and then it suddenly becomes a porn or order ad, right? So
Oh
that
shit.
okay, so that was the funny ad, which is, and the reason why Claude is doing that is because they're saying no ads on Claude. Anthropic saying
Mm.
no ads on Claude, and AI, for OpenAI saying it is going to put ads out, and that I thought that was such a brilliant take. So we're going to see a lot of weird things within the AI sector as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
I would hold on to my money. What about you, Janvi?
No, absolutely, absolutely. I mean,
Mm.
the AI is there to stay, right? And there
Yeah.
are there are the big companies that have to invest in the AI infrastructure. The
Mm.
governments are spending so much towards the AI infrastructure. The bigger companies, the FANG nations,
Mm.
Google has gone out of its way to invest in Gemini. They've created their own infrastructure, right? Apple is not investing in the infrastructure, but then they've collaborated with
Yeah.
I think OpenAI, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there is obviously much demand, and it is a given fact that softwares are being replaced, human beings are replaced. The way we work today is getting replaced by AI. And one thing that we absolutely need, the more applications that will come for AI will automatically generate more demand towards a more robust AI infrastructure, right? So probably this is the one market where there was the supply
Yeah.
initially, and then demand was created, but now the demand will actually pull the market so that the supply actually happens. So
One.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Go
I
on.
mean, the investors who are running away from AI infrastructure probably have a shorter term thinking.
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, they are very intelligent people and all of that stuff, but I think that's just myopic thinking.
I would look at any individual company. One final point. I would like to look at individual companies and how they build their stories. So if they're playing this game in some way to relate it to it, how do they increase their valuation if everything else around them is getting commoditized? So it's not just a revenue versus business model versus whatever. It's also about
Yeah.
the way in which you build your story around yourself. I think it's a
Hmm.
good way to stop. I think it's a good way to stop this discussion. Okay. All right. Get
Yeah.
out of here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. 40 fucking minutes.